Alrighty, and we are ready to do our first game of Charterstone. I have player 1, Nat, over here on my left. I have player 2, Christy, over here on the right. And I am rolling the Charterstone dice until I get one of them to see who is going first. And I go first. Alrighty. Alright, so in addition to the story rules that I put in the book, it also has this card which says that basically the important part of Game 1 is to use the Charterstone building, which is going to allow you to start unlocking crates. So they actually give you, for your first game, 4 coins that you would need in order to use the Charterstone. So for my first turn, I think that's what I'm going to do. Nat is going to go to the Charterstone. He is going to pay 2 influence to General Supply and the 4 gold that they give me for the first game. And I will get to unlock this crate. Crate number 1. And it says that for opening crate 1, I'm going to gain cards 22, 23, and 219. So I just gained 3 new cards. I gained the Pumpkin Market, the Greenhouse, and a new Persona. So these are just, these buildings aren't built yet. They just go in front of me. And the Persona I hold on to and get to use for a different, for another game. It also says on this card that after the first crate is unlocked, which I just did, I get to extract card 14 from the index. Alright, so I just received 2 new rules cards for opening that first crate. So I'm going to add these to the manual now. Okay, I also gain 5 victory points for opening up that crate. So, that goes to there. Alright, now over to Christy's turn. I think that she's going to want to do the same thing. So she's going to bring her guy over to the Charterstone, which is going to make Nat get his guy back. And now we are going to open up crate number 3. Alright, now surprisingly the same thing happened. She got 2 new buildings to construct and a new Persona for another game. And because Christy completed opening a crate, then she also gets 5 victory points. Back over to Nat. Now, I suppose that the main thing I should be working on is getting these buildings out as well. They each have 4 resources I need to collect in order to build them. So I think I will just work on that by first going to the garden and collecting 1 pumpkin. Now Chrissy is going to be doing the same thing, so she's going to put her second guy on the forest and collect 1 wood. Over to Nat, he is going to put his guy here on the cave and collect 1 metal. Now Chrissy has both of her guys out, so she is going to have to use her turn to take both of them back. Now, same thing, Nat's in the same situation. Both of his guys are out, so he's going to use his turn to collect both of them again. Back over to Christy. She will once again go for the wood spot. She now has the 2 that she needs to complete these. Nat is going to go back on the garden and get another pumpkin. Christy will go for the wheat in the field. Right. And Nat is going to go to the mine in order to collect the coal. Christy needs to collect both of her figures, so she'll do that on her turn. Nat needs to get both of his guys on his turn. Now the only thing Christy needs to finish the wood market is a metal. So she's going to go to the cave and collect that. Nat already has everything that he needs, so he is going to go to the Zeppelin. He's going to spend 3 influence And then the 4 supplies indicated on the card. And he is going to build the pumpkin market. He can go there and trade 1 pumpkin in for a gold and a victory point. And I'm going to put that right there. And I'm already making mistakes. Every time that you open a crate or complete a building, you need to move things on the progress track. For starters, I already had it on the wrong place. I don't know if anyone noticed that. So starting it on the player 2 spot, we completed once when Nat opened his first crate. Again, when Christy opened her crate, and because it landed on the ship, she gets to put a influence token here on the reputation track. And then Nat just did it again by completing a building. But we aren't using income for the first game. He also gets 5 victory points for completing a building. So I am going to move him up to 10 victory points. Right, and so now the pumpkin market is completed, but I keep this in front of me because I still need to try to open the crate that is on it. Now over to Chrissy's turn. She could go to where the Zeppelin is and knock Nat off of it and allowing him to get the guy back for free. Since she figures that she can just wait 1 turn on that anyway, she won't give him the advantage. So she's just going to take her guy onto the forest and collect another wood. So now it is Nat's turn. And probably want to see what I can do about getting the crate open. I don't know if that's a good idea. I could also be trying to go for a little easier thing to do would be to try to get some advancement cards, which I just need 1 gold and any 1 resource in order to get. So I think I will go for the pumpkin, because then I'll be able to turn that pumpkin into a gold and a victory point, which is better than using the treasury, which would only give me a gold. So I'll be doing that once I get my guys back. All right, so Christy has both of her guys out, so she's going to use her turn to bring them back. Nat has both of his guys out, so he will use his turn to bring them back. Now Christy is going to go to the open Zeppelin and spend 3 influence. And then the 2 wood, the wheat, and the metal. And complete the wood market, which lets her trade in a wood for a gold and a reputation. I'll put that right there. Now she holds on to this because there's still a crate on it for her to try and open. The progress track goes up 1 because she completed the building, and then she also gets 5 victory points for constructing a building, so they're once again tied. Right, and it is now Nat's turn. He is going to use his pumpkin market, spend 1 pumpkin, and gain a gold and a victory point, giving him the lead. I think Christy is also going to, want to do that same thing. She is going to, well, she already has 1 forest, though, so she can actually just do that now. She's going to put her second guy on the wood market. She's going to trade in the 1 wood that she has, and she's going to take 1 gold. But unlike Nat getting a victory point, she gets reputation. So she will put that right there. All right. Over to Nat. He will go to the garden, and he will take another pumpkin. And now he has the resource and the gold that he needs in order to take an advancement card. All right, over to Christy. Christy has both of her guys out, so she will just use her turn to take them back. Nat has both of his guys out, so he'll use his turn to take them back. Christy will go to the forest and collect a wood. Nat is going to go to the market, trade in his pumpkin and his gold. And he's going to take an advancement card. So I think I am going to take the assistant, who's the maestro. Whenever you use the grandstand, you may gain 1 reputation. Now, anytime you buy one of the assistants, you get to name them. This looks like my friend Tiana, so that is what I'm going to name her. All right, so Christy has enough to get the advancement card right now, but she doesn't want to bump Nat for free. So instead, she's going to use her other guy to bump herself, and she can just collect another forest token. For Nat's turn, he's going to go to the garden and get a pumpkin. All right, and Christy is going to, well, same thing. She doesn't want to knock him back for free, so she is going to just bump herself from the forest and take another wood. Nothing wrong with that. All right, now Nat has no choice but to take both of his guys back. Over to Christy. Now that the market is open, she's going to spend 1 gold and 1 of her wood, and she's going to take one of the advancement cards. She is going to take the Sherpa. Whenever you advance the progress token, you gain 1 victory point. I'm going to name the Sherpa after my cousin Eric. All right, now I think Nat wants to go for opening up another crate. So I'm going to have him go to the garden, collect another pumpkin. Now, Chrissy has both of her guys out, so she's going to use her turn to take them back. All right, so Nat is going to want to try to open up another crate, but it's going to require 4 gold. So he is just going to bump himself and gain another pumpkin. All right, now, Christy sees that this objective is out that says have at least 3 influence tokens on the reputation track. She already has 2, so she'll be able to get that objective soon. She just needs to be able to trade in wood in order to do it. So she's going to go to the wood market, spend 1 wood, gain a gold, and also put a 3rd reputation on the track. All right. So now over to Nat, he is going to bump himself again, and he now has 4 pumpkins. All right, so now over to Christy. Christy has completed the objective here, so she is going to go to the grandstand. She pays 1 influence, which gets put on the card itself. So she gains 5 victory points for completing an objective, but also you move up the progress track every time someone completes an objective. And she has the ability, because of Eric, whenever you advance the progress token, gain 1 victory point. So she is actually going to get 6 victory points for doing that. Good job, Christy. All right, now it is over to Nat, who is going to go to the pumpkin market, and he's going to trade in a pumpkin for a gold and a victory point. All right, and Chrissy has both of her guys out, so she's going to use her turn to collect them. Nat, unfortunately, can't pump himself because they're both out, so he will use his turn to get both these guys back. And I think Christy is also going to want to try to open up another crate, so she is going to go to the forest to collect a wood. Alrighty, over to Nat. He is going to go to the pumpkin market. He's going to trade in a pumpkin for gold and a victory point. Christy is going to bump herself and take another wood. Nat is going to bump himself, trade another pumpkin, gain another gold, gain another victory point. Christy will bump herself and gain another wood. And then Nat, one more time, bumping himself, trading in the pumpkin, gaining a gold, gaining a victory point. All right, now Christy could keep going to the wood market just like Nat was doing and gain a gold and a reputation, but unfortunately she would run out of reputation that way. So instead, I'm just going to send her to the treasury where she can trade in wood and gain a gold. All right, now Nat is going to go to the Charterstone. He pays 2 influence and 4 gold. And he now gets to open up crate number 8. All right. Well, I just unlocked some crazy stuff that I was not expecting all this to happen at once. So I unlocked minions. The minions for Nat are going to be cats, apparently. So these basically work as workers I can put on buildings. Only I can't bump them off. They just stay on the board until I go to retrieve them. So I ended up with a new persona, a cat cafe to build, and new rules to add to the book. This card, I guess, to have them off to the side. So I do get to have one for unlocking it to begin with. So I have this little guy right here. There is going to be a new objective that will go into the mix for the next game. And I also need to add this minion quota to the game board right here. So a lot of stuff just happened. All right, now for opening up the crate, I'm going to get 5 victory points, which is going to bring me to 20. And then I also advance this 1 spot, which brings me, which lets Nat gain his first reputation on the board. Very exciting. All right, now over to player 2, Christy. She is definitely going to want to open up her crate, hoping that hopefully she gets minions out of it too. So right now she has 2 gold, and both of her guys are out, so she's going to use her turn to retrieve them. All right, over to Nat, who doesn't have to bring those guys back. He now has this little cat to use. So I think that he is going to... Let's see, I could try completing the greenhouse. Yeah, so we'll do that. So he's going to move his cat to the garden, and he's going to take 1 pumpkin. Now Chrissy on her turn is going to go to the treasury, trade in wood, and get a gold. Now Nat has all his guys out, so he is going to use his turn to retrieve them all. And Christy is going to bump herself off the treasury, trade in a wood, and get a gold. All right. Nat is going to go to the garden and get a pumpkin. Christy is going to go to the Charterstone. She's going to pay 2 influence and the 4 gold in order to complete and open up crate number 24. Okay, didn't get minions for Christy, but she did get another building to construct, and also it changed the rules on how to construct a building, because the building that she is now going to be able to build allows her to complete buildings for cheaper than just using the Zeppelin in order to do it. However, she does get less victory points for doing it this way. So I guess you have to weigh the pros and cons of using the Zeppelin or using the constructor card. But I'm going to now update the rule in the instructions. Oh, she also got a new persona card. And because she opened up a crate, the progress moves forward. And she also gets 5 victory points, which brings her up to 21. All right, back over to Nat. who was trying to complete the greenhouse before the game ends. He is going to go to the field and gain a wheat. Christy has both of her guys out, so she's going to take them back. Nat is going to go to the forest and collect a wood. Now, there's not going to be a lot of time left in this game, but I think that Christy is going to want to get this assistant card, which says whenever you use the treasurer, you may regain one of your influence tokens from the general supply. Now, because she's going to be using the treasury sometimes when she doesn't want to use too much reputation at the wood market, that's going to come in very handy for her. So I already have a resource to spend. I just needed gold. So Christy is going to... so Christy doesn't need to actually get wood and bump him off. She can get any resource. So she's just going to go to the mine and collect coal. Now over to Nat. All 3 of his guys are out, so he's going to collect them. Christy is going to go to the treasury, and she's going to trade in that coal for 1 gold. All right, and now Nat is going to go to the Zeppelin. He's going to spend 3 influence and the 4 resources listed on the card. And he is going to build the greenhouse. The greenhouse allows a player to spend 1 influence to gain a pumpkin and a victory point. Now he gets 5 more points for completing a building. And now this moves up 1 more spot. So the game is going to end very soon. This will stay in front of him. All right, Chrissy has both of her guys out on the board, so she's going to use her turn to take them back. All right, since resources transfer from game to game, I think that I'm going to have Nat go to the greenhouse. He's going to spend an influence, and he's going to get a pumpkin, and he's going to get 1 victory point. Now, Christy is going to go to the market on her turn. She's going to spend her gold and her wood. And she's going to get the advancement card of the treasurer. Like I said, whenever you use the treasurer, you may regain 1 of your influence tokens from the general supply. This will come in very useful to her. Now, my friend Sean loves cryptocurrency and won't shut up about it. So I'm going to name the treasurer after him. Alright, so now because Nat doesn't have any influence left, I have to advance the progress track by 1, which makes this the last round of the game. He's going to go, and then Christy's going to get 1 more turn. And I'm just going to move the cat to the garden and take a pumpkin to use in the next game. Now this is Christy's last turn, and she's just going to go to the forest and get a wood. All right, and that is the end of the first game. It tells me that I need to take out another card, and then I believe I'll be adding up the points for this game. All right, so the cards I had me pull out were just more rules for how the end of the game is going to work and how it's going to affect future games, as far as there's going to be limits on what I get to carry over, and there's also going to be things I just get to start the game with based on what I have for glory. So for now, I'm just going to do the end of the game scoring. It says to add up reputation cards that give you any points. I don't think either player has cards that give you points, so we just have to do the reputation. Now, Christy had the most, so she gets 10 victory points, which is bringing her up to 31. However, Nat came in second with 7, which is going to bring him up to 33. So he is going to be the winner of the game. So the players with the most victory points this game mark their charter chest. So I'll be putting a little marker on here. Then it says the non-winners name your charter. Also, as a show of humility, each winning charter and inactive charter must now be named by the non-winners. Players will name the village later. I am all players. I am both the winners and the losers, so I will be naming everything in this game. All right, but that is it for now. That completes the first game. I'm going to do a little cleanup over here and fill stuff in. But thanks so much for watching, and stick around for game 2.